So how'd you take this from idea to Google?
So I was working in a real job for 3 years. I was making money, I was making a living, but I wanted to build something. But I knew if I want to build something, I wasn't going to make money right out of the bat, So I made some money on some savings and I started to execute. Like I said, having an idea is easy, but executing is hard. One tip I can give to anyone about startup is really launch it every time. Back then, even though it was crappy to look at, we were very ashamed because there's no interface. We launched it like in 2 months. Okay, a lot of people didn't like because the interface was not great, but we launched it and get feedback. And then start iterating. Then in 6 months was good enough for us to apply for an accelerator.
What's up, action takers? Welcome back to After Hours Entrepreneur. This is your guide to building your very own thriving, freedom-loving, freedom-building six-figure business. And today, I'm bringing you a backstage pass to the NSU Levan Center of Innovation's Innovation Day 2022. This event was incredible. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of innovators and entrepreneurs from the South Florida area all congregated in one place in one time. What you're about to watch is one of the episodes in the series where I'm talking with a local entrepreneur who's making it happen just like you. So sit back, relax, and get ready to learn some new skills, to learn what's working, hear some amazing stories from entrepreneurs, and walk away with some actionable tips that are going to help you build up your business. And by the way, this episode is sponsored by Savant Media. Savant Media gives you the tools to launch, grow, and monetize your very own podcast. You want more info? All you gotta do is go to www.marksavantmedia.com to launch and grow your very own podcast. It's gonna crush it, baby. All right, enough of me. It's time to get into this episode with an awesome innovator at the NSU Innovation Center. Let's go. Quick shout out to our sponsors over at Fran Bridge Consulting. They specialize in placing you with the best non-food franchises on earth. And the best part, it's 100% free. Do yourself a favor and sign up for a free call with the CEO, John Austinson, today over at franbridgeconsulting.com. He'll even send you a free book, 100% free. Go to franbridgeconsulting.com, chat with the CEO, John, today. All right, let's get into the episode. Ivo, what's up? Welcome to the After Hours Entrepreneur.
How's it going, man? It's good to be here.
It is awesome to be here at the Levan Center here in Davie, South Florida. This is where tech and innovation is happening. Speaking of which, Ivo, you have a really, really interesting product. So before we get into your backstory, why don't you just quickly tell everyone, what's your name of your company and what does it do?
All right, so the name of the company is Wisecut. So basically, that's how I found you, because we work really closely with podcast creators. So basically what Wisecut does is to edit videos automatically by using speech recognition. So basically, if you have a podcast of 1 hour, you can cut down to 1 minute automatically by using Wisecut.
And I think it's a really, really cool idea. I was talking to Eva. I'm like, this is pretty disruptive to my industry. But quite frankly, I'm not scared of disruption. I'm not scared of new technology. I'm embracing it. I'm leveraging it to give myself and my clients a better experience. Speaking of which, I think about all the coaching clients out there, all the mastermind members of the Podcast Savant Pro community who say, Mark, editing is taking me way too long. I think a Wisecut is a pretty interesting way to solve that problem. So let's talk about that. Ivo's background is in podcast and video editing, which makes him the perfect person, I think, to launch Wisecut. But let's go back. Let's go back to you're in Brazil. You're moving to the United States. You get here. What's going through your mind?
Yeah, man. It's an immigrant story, right? I come from Brazil originally, 2015. I'm an entrepreneur. So I came with another company to launch it here with nothing. But I won a scholarship to study at Draper University in California, Silicon Valley. And that was my dream, right? I want to go to Silicon Valley to be the next Mark Zuckerberg, the next Steve Jobs, right? So I got there and I was launching this new product over there and I made great connections. It took 4 months for the program. But then after the program, for 4 months, I came to Miami. That was around 2016. back then, if people are now coming to Miami, which is a great city, I love the city, the vibe, the people, the beach, everything was perfect. But back in 2016, there was a few companies starting out, but there was nothing much going on here. FIU was starting out, the startup program, but there are some others that are here now,
So
like Emerge.
I am curious, and I want to just make sure I'm clear here, right? So you're in Silicon Valley, which is where you want to be if you're into tech, if you're in a startup, but you moved to Miami. Why was that?
A few reasons. One, I was just starting out. Silicon Valley is so expensive.
Fair.
So I couldn't live there, even if I wanted. It was really hard. I mean, I could figure out maybe, in a way, maybe in someone's basement or something. But it was really hard. And on the other side, I had friends here from Brazil. They were like, hey, why don't you come try it out here and see how you like it? And back then, I never knew Florida. And was like, okay, I'll try it out. But there's nothing going on there. You don't hear about Florida back in 2015, 16 when it comes to technology. And that was my biggest block. I knew that I would probably like it here because I'm from a part of Brazil that's similar in a way of weather. But it was like, I'm afraid to go because I'm going to lose time of my own time, right? Doing something. I don't think I'm going to progress that. I don't think I'm going to get far away there. But because I was broke, I said, okay, I'll take it and I'll live with my friend there and see how it's going to work out.
Cool. So you're back in Miami. You've got this tech startup. You've got this idea in mind, this vision in mind to grow your life. So what did you do next?
So back then, I still didn't have the idea of Wisecut. Even though I've always been my whole life a video editor. If you take back my whole story, it's too long. But since I was a teenager, I was editing videos. Then my first job was in video editing. Then I did this for my whole life. Even though I was doing entrepreneurship, I was the guy who was doing the videos, the viral videos, and doing the business at the same time. So I had this other company, which was a hardware company. It was very disruptive as well, but it was in the interest of mobility. We created this backpack that transformed an electric skateboard in 2014, before scooters were a reality. So it was very disruptive, and that took me to a lot of places, like the scholarships. I was featured in Forbes, Time, TechCrunch, Time. I was really out there and booming, but I wasn't making money. I was getting a lot of experience, and my name was out there, even helping me to immigrate to this country because of that company, which is great, but I wasn't making money.
Which is important, right?
Which is important.
You got the greatest idea, but if there's no money behind it, it's hard to make anything happen.
Yes. So I stayed for 1.5 years here in Miami, and I connected with the few people who were doing startup companies, and I created a campaign, a crowdfund campaign for my other company, like Indiegogo and Kickstarter, and we did good, and we did well actually. So I learned a lot with that. But then after 1.5 years, I say, okay, this is not going anywhere. Let me move back to California. Let me go to Los Angeles for a few reasons. It's California, it has a lot of money. Stuff is happening there. It's been a dream of mine, an old dream, because I went for film, right? I'm a video editor, so I'm gonna go there, even though I'm doing hardware company. I'm gonna go to Los Angeles where the opportunities are. So I get to Los Angeles. I still working with my startup companies. I still need money, so I start working in video editing because that's what I know, right? I go back to that's my skill. That's what I'm good at it, and I start progressing on that. So I start growing on that. So I started working for Hollywood studios, and then I become a video editor for a company, and then I become a post supervisor for this company, and then suddenly I have 10 editors under me that I have to manage, and that's when the idea came. So I saw these 10 editors struggling to edit videos, especially videos that have a voice. Why? When you have to edit video that has a voice, think about like a 1 hour video, you have to listen to that 1 hour video 10 times. So that's 10 hours of your day to make decisions to cut this video, where you want to cut, remove all the silence, remove the filler sounds. All this process takes so many hours, and it's not, many times it's not that creative, especially at the beginning when you just removing the silences, for example. So that's why I was like, okay, we hired 10 people to edit 300 hours. That's a lot of money, that's a lot of time. What if we had an algorithms that can go through the audio in 1 minute and make those decisions for me? So that's how it started.
Love it. Love it. So finding solutions to problems. That's what entrepreneurs do. You've got an idea though, and ideas are great, but they're a dime a dozen. It's in the execution, right? Gosh, how many people that you talk to say something like, oh, I had the best idea, or I had that idea first. Yeah, but you didn't do anything. You had to take the action. So what did that look like? How did you actually take action to turn that idea into a reality that now, by the way, has gotten funding from Google, You may have heard of this company before. It's called Google. You've gotten funding from Google. So how'd you take this from idea to Google?
1000%. Idea, we hear that a lot. It's cliche. Idea worth nothing. And I saw that happening many times. This is not my first company, so I knew what I was getting into. So I was working in a real job, Yeah,
I love that.
For 3 years. So I was making money, I was making a living, but I wanted to build something. But I knew if I want to build something, I wasn't going to make money right out of the bat, So I made some money on some savings, and I started to execute. And I knew that I was going for something that is not easy, Like I said, having an idea is easy, but executing is hard.
What was that first step for executing? Because you didn't have a background in coding or app development, right?
Exactly. So the first idea was the auto cut, right? How do I cut this automatically? So I had this idea. I'm very privileged and lucky that my brother is a great software developer.
Nice, yeah.
So that was like luck, So I the first thing I did was I called him and I pitched him the idea, and he was like, "Wow, that makes a lot of sense, and it's very repetitive, and you know all about it, and I can make this happen. I can make I can teach the AI to do what you do, as good as you do, but much faster." So that's how we kind of started. But I was still working for this company, and I had to kind of prepare for being broke.
Yeah.
So I stayed in the company. I was bootstrapping, what we call, right, when you're paying for the company to exist, our company, right, Wisecut. So I was bootstrapping. So I was working full time for this company, 8 hours, and then whatever is left from my day, I was building Wisecut with my brother, and I was using my salary, part of my salary, to fund the
project.
Yeah. So that took 6 months for us to kind of get to a place that was kind of going well. I mean, one tip I can give to anyone about startup is really launch it every time. So we probably launched like in 2 months. We didn't have an interface or anything. We just launched it. And I went to a group of YouTubers on Facebook. There were 300,000 YouTubers there, small YouTubers. And I started posting stuff there, asking, what is your big challenge on video editing? And a lot of them would say, cutting videos. And then say, hey, I have a solution here. So back then, even though it was crappy to look at, we were very ashamed because there's no interface. My brother expertise back then was back end. So he didn't build interface. We launched it like in 2 months. And then we started getting people, a lot of people didn't like because the interface was not great, but we launched it and got feedback. And then we started iterating. Then in 6 months, it was good enough for us to apply for an accelerator. So accelerator is like an incubator, but they also put money. So they have skin in the game. So they put this accelerator here in Miami. It's called Levan Center. They saw us. They saw the potential. They saw the team. They saw that we are brothers. We get along really well in a very complementary way. And they decided to invest in us $100K. And they also give us a lot of, coaching. And they also have a team of people that come from Facebook that knows how to kind of go to market, how to read data, how to implement instrumentation, everything that you need to kind of learn from the product perspective that is going to get us to the next level. And that's in Miami.
Yeah, and there's a lot of, you don't know what you don't know, especially when you're moving from A to Z like that. Yo, are you interested in business ownership? For many entrepreneurs, the journey starts with non-food franchising. Franchising is simply the better option for many entrepreneurs, and demand is at an all-time high. Lucky for you, John Austinson, founder of Franbridge Consulting, is here to help you today. John and his Franbridge Consulting team are part of the largest brokerage in the US and are constantly vetting the market thoroughly. Franbridge is hands down the premier source for the best opportunities in the non-food franchising world. They will find the best business for you, your personality, and your location, from healthcare to dumpsters, from youth soccer to oil changes, even insulation and windows. And the best part, it's 100% fee-free, no additional costs to you. You may have heard John on Entrepreneurs on Fire. He has served as an Inc. 500 franchisor, a multi-brand franchisee, and in fact, he's one of the top 1% consultants nationwide. Listen, sign up for a free consultation with the CEO, John, today, not his assistant, not his sales team. Sign up for free with John today at franbridgeconsulting.com. That's franbridgeconsulting.com. And guess what? He's even going to send you a copy of his book for free, Non-Food Franchising. For free book. You got to love it. So go to franbridgeconsulting.com right now. All right, let's get into the episode. I am curious, how many other programs, how many other platforms were you competing against to get that investment from Venture City? How many other companies were there?
So back then, the main competitor, the main player in the video editing is the ones I was using professionally, right? Adobe.
Well, I don't mean how many editors. I mean, like, Venture City is probably looking at hundreds of platforms to invest in, right?
Yes.
I mean, how many were there, and how do you think that you stood out?
For a few reasons. One, yes, we were very innovative. So there were not a lot of people doing the approach we were doing. The thing I was going to say is that back then, video editing was a timeline, like Adobe Premiere and all the other platforms was doing timelines.
Right.
The way you look is just waveforms. You know, there was one competitor that you know about that also was doing kind of speech recognition, which we use in our software as well. So that was pretty much the two of us, you know. And so there's not a lot of people doing what we do, but what they saw, because we didn't have much back then, was barely an interface, was really the team. You know, they saw someone that has 15 years experience in video editing, know what's talking about, and they saw a software developer who is really good as well. He's very creative and is really good to make it happen. I saw stories about people who tried to get into the Venture City, and they're great, but because they didn't have the one who codes, they couldn't get in, because you need to have at the beginning someone who codes. If you don't code, find someone that codes for you and partner up with this person.
I like that.
It's not just about the vision. The vision, it's the beginning, but building it, you need someone that codes right besides you.
Yeah,
most of the time.
So disruptive, you had a disruptive product/service, disruptive, relevant. You had a good team, so you could stand out with the actual people behind the product. And then the third item there was having someone to close, get people on the phone and to close. Am I hearing you correctly there?
Because we were targeting mostly B2C, directed to consumer, we didn't need someone selling directly. I mean, I was doing that job. I was selling, but I was doing kind of a not a mass, like a mass communication, right? I was talking to a lot of people at the same time on Facebook. But yeah, okay. In a way, I was selling to them. So
you're going on Facebook, finding potential investors, and you're saying, hey, check this out.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I was doing what program says, those things that don't scale first.
Yeah.
So first you want to give it a try. You just do stuff that is not going to scale. But I was personally talking and posting on Facebook and talking to them through messengers and getting the feedback. All that I was doing. Besides building the company, I was doing that. That's the most important thing you do at the beginning. It's really, besides launching, it's really getting feedback and learning from it.
Well, so I like that you went there, Ivo, because I don't want to put all entrepreneurs in this basket, but I think when we're trying to build a business, sometimes I look at different tasks that need to be done. I'm like, I don't have time for that, or I'm too good for that, or that's not scalable. But to your point, I think when you're really trying to get to that first 6-figure mark, when you're trying to get that snowball moving, you've got to be scrappy. There's no pride. There's no shame in the game. You just got to make it happen. So props to you for making that happen. So you got the funding you got selected and the funding from Venture City for Wisecut. And then you started leveraging that connection into finding multiple connections. So what happened next?
So that was the inflection point, right? I see there's like 2 or 3 inflection points that I would kind of think about right now. One of the things I want to say is, like, I wanted to come back to Miami, right? I was in LA for 3 years, but I knew that I would feel happier in Miami. I would fit in better. And so I wanted to go back. And when the Venture City kind of got in touch, and I was like, oh, these guys are there. This is the opportunity I was looking for to go back to Miami, you know? And the pandemic hit. And then what happened is actually we did the program online. It was not even in Miami. I was doing online. But then I got to come back to Miami, and I had this kind of a pool of people that would kind of be there for me as well to help me get around. So yeah, so the accelerator was really helpful at the beginning because they would introduce us to this new world of people. They have connections, and especially for the product because they're very focused on product led, on product itself. At that stage that we were actually just building the product, we learn a lot from that. So they gave us the expertise to do the instrumentation and really learn what is the journey of the user in our platform. What do they do when they drop out? What's happening when they drop out? Like if they sign up, they upload a video and they don't do anything. That's a churn. We are losing that. Why is that?
Yeah.
So they help you see that, and they help you get your users. Okay, sign up, upload a video, production start, finish production. The user sees the video, they like it, they export, they send to YouTube. That's a win.
So I want to get into the rapid fire section because I don't want to take you up too long here, Ivo, but I do want to know, what was the feeling when you found out that you were getting funding from Google?
I got goosebumps, literally. So basically, I went to this event here in Miami called Emerge Americas. That was another inflection point for us. We didn't expect much. We just signed up. Then we pitched it. Then we got to the first 100. So we were selected between thousands of startup companies, and we were one of the best 100. So we got to have a booth over there. And from this 100, I got to pitch on stage at Emerge. It's like a tech crunch from Miami. And then I got down to top 10 startup companies in this event here in Miami. And then from there, I also signed up for Google for Startups. And because I did well at Emerge, and when I did the application, I did well as well for Google for Startups. So I remember really well because at first I didn't think I won because they only announced one winner. There's more than one on the stage. And I was like, okay, we lost, Then I went home. Then 1 month later, sort of, the head of Emerge, Melissa, Medina. Actually, no, someone from Emerge, from her company, emailed me. Hey, we want to do an interview to ask what you thought about Emerge Americas, the event. And so, okay, it's tomorrow morning. I said, okay, I put my Wisecut shirt. I'll go prepared to talk about it. It was a great experience. And then Melissa comes in the call. I was like, what Melissa's doing here? She's the director of the program. Why is she here for my interview, And then she gives me the news. Like, I just want to tell you that congratulations, you're selected to be for the first Latino fund of Google for Startups. They give you $100,000. It's non-dilutive, so you're not giving a piece of your company.
That's awesome.
And you become a part of the Google ecosystem. So you get a lot of coaching from the Google and opportunities to kind of work with them as well.
That is awesome.
That's a win.
Love it. That's a win. That's a small win. Small wins for the small things. Cool. So, Ivo, before we get into the rapid fire section, buckle up, by the way, if you haven't yet, get ready. It's coming. Before we get into the rapid fire section, tell us, where is the best place for us to find you?
Wisecut.video. So it's an online app. If you go to our website, it's called it's www.wisecut.video. It's really easy to sign up. We do have a free version, so 30 minutes for free per month. You can try it out, see what you think. It's very straightforward. Do you know how many steps do you have to create a video with Wisecut?
How many?
2.
2 steps.
Used to be 4, now it's 2. So we make it really simple to anyone to create a video with Wisecut. That's our main goal, that people can use their focus and effort to create new content, to really focus on their content, what they're going to say, the podcast, but leave all the rest stuff, to Wisecut to help you out to put this out.
2 steps, and Ivo and I were talking about this. I run a podcast production agency, and, this technology could impact my agency negatively or positively, depending on how I look at it. I refuse to be the old man on the porch shaking my fist at the new technology. That disruptive technology, you can't stop it. The best thing to do is embrace it, learn it, and find ways that you can leverage it to build your business. So that's where I'm at with Wisecut. Super cool, Ivo. Okay.
Smart man.
Yeah, baby. Rapid fire here. You ready?
I'm not.
I think I already know the answer to this, but if you could live anywhere in the world, where would you live?
Miami. You know what? I could choose anywhere in the world. I've been to many places, and I chose Miami.
Yeah. I think it's the right answer. South Florida is awesome.
Yeah, I love it here, man. Like I said, I went to many different places to come back to Miami. I tried to get out, but I couldn't,
Yeah.
Even though Brazil is awesome too, super fun, but I find Miami is very the balance between work and life balance for me.
Love it. If you could sit next to anyone on a plane, who would you sit next to?
when I was younger, I was really looking up to Steve Jobs. Of course, I don't want to be at his side now.
Yeah.
He's dead. So right now, that's a good question. That's a good question. I would say there's so many answers coming to my mind right now.
There's so many great people.
I'm going to film directors, then I'm going to tech, like Mark Zuckerberg. Then I go to martial arts, which is something I love to do, you know. I feel like today, Mark Zuckerberg would be something cool to talk to. Actually, he just got into martial arts, so we have two topics to talk. Tech
Yeah, I
and
heard
martial
him
arts.
talking to Rogan about jujitsu. And Zuckerberg is fascinating, the way he's paving the way for the metaverse or metaverse. So I think that's a good answer. Where will you be at professionally in 10 years?
In 10 years, Wisecut's gonna be huge, impacting billions of lives. People are not gonna be afraid to talk to cameras because they know that Wisecut's gonna take care of their content and make them look awesome. In 10 years, so that's professionally. I see.
Will you still be a part of Wisecut, or will you have an 8-9 figure exit from Wisecut?
That's a great question. I want to grow as Wisecut. I can see it grow really, really, really far. You know, I feel like we can even IPO with Wisecut. But on the way, if we find a great partner that can make our vision bigger and much faster than we can by ourselves, I'll definitely consider. And there are a few companies that could do that, but not that many.
Fair. And the cool thing about entrepreneurship is there's always a new challenge, new problem to solve. And you got that glimmer in your eye. I can tell there's always gonna be another challenge to solve. If you could be any animal, what would you be?
Any animal. The fastest answer is dog. I guess most of people say dog, right? But I do love dogs, so.
I think it's a good answer.
Yeah. Not just because I love dogs, but some people would probably say I want to be the king of the jungle and I want to be the lion.
That's popular.
But I feel like dog, because they got closer to the most evolved species, which is humans, I think they get better lives than lions in the jungle.
Dogs always seem happy to me.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, you can't go wrong there. Final question for you. If you had 10 seconds with yourself 10 years ago, what would you say?
10 seconds. Back to Future. I love that movie, by the way. 10 seconds. Ivo. One thing that took me a while to learn, it's really to enjoying the process. When I was with my other company, I learned what was anxiety. I didn't know what was anxiety until I was 25 or something. And I literally couldn't breathe, you know, because so much was happening. I was in Forbes. I was talking to the biggest investor in the West, you know, and this was so overwhelming back then. And a lot of times I was going to interviews. A lot of times I was not enjoying the moment. I was just, what I have to do next, you know. And one thing that I like to do now is really breathe and enjoy the moment. Be present too. That's a big one for me. Be present, not just in the future. I'm a tech entrepreneur. I tend to always live in the future to anticipate what is in the future. So that's kind of what happens, brings the anxiety. But now I understand. I'm more mature, and I breathe better and understand that it's one step at a time. It doesn't happen like this. It's one step at a time. So enjoy the ride and breathe.
Really good. What are you reading right now?
I'm big with audiobooks.
Okay.
You know, something that it might be cliche too, and I was very, how do you say, I think I thought was not good. I don't know the words to say now, but something that really helped me to get through was Tony Robbins.
Sure.
Tony Robbins. It sounds cliche, and if you don't know him, I encourage you to try. I was like, nah, this is just self-help, all this thing. But Wisecut came from that. I would say, like, I went to an event from him, and these ideas started to pop up. I was like, I wanted to. It was inside me. I wrote it down in the program, like my goals, what I want to do. I was like, I want to start a new company. I want to start a new app. I want to do it with my brother. I want to go to Miami. I want to go back to martial arts. And this all happened because I was open for it. I was listening to, all the things he says that's great to unlock stuff in your mind that you don't even think is there. And it really helped me to get started, So I read all his audiobooks, and it really helped me. Like, I was daily listening to his stuff, and it really helped me to get started and kind of get from there.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, Ivo, thanks for being here on the After Hours Entrepreneur. Can't wait to see where you take Wisecut, brother. Thanks for being on the show.
It's been a pleasure. And if you need any help with video, and we are here to help you out. We want you guys to focus on your creativity, on creating content, and let, all the technical stuff for Wisecut.
Yo, thanks for listening to today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're walking away with something practical that you can use in your business. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and we will catch you here next time on After Hours Entrepreneur. It's up to you. Go take the action, baby. Go make it happen. See ya. Peace.